So I have currently been doing a lot of work in the Faery Book of Shadows that I've been doing, and since I've been kind of rewriting down all of my old notes, I thought it could be interesting to share a little bit of a piece of myself here and talk about some keynotes to like how to know if you're a fairy witch. So obviously not all of the things to know you're a fairy witch is going to be on this list. I also wanted to add that not all of these things are going to be like hard stone fact to like be a fairy witch. Obviously to each their own. I just kind of have a couple of things compiled on basically on things I could see kind of pointing to you might be a fairy witch if sort of thing. So without further ado, first I'm going to kind of talk about what a fairy witch is real quick. So in my own words, a fairy witch is someone who works with or kind of incorporates the fae into their witchcraft, preferably respectfully. This isn't like a forceful sort of situation like making the fairies work with you or whatever, right? Really all you need to be a fairy witch or to work with the fae spiritually is just to believe that they exist. It's just the belief of the fae and then incorporating them into your craft. So now that that is kind of out of the way, I'll get into some of the ways to be able to tell if you are a fairy witch. Number 1, you work closely with or communicate with the fae. That one kind of goes without saying, considering the fact that if you're incorporating them into your craft, obviously you might want to communicate with them or be able to work with them in some way. So yeah. Number 2, you have a strong interest in the fae or the folklore surrounding them. Again, kind of goes without saying, I don't really see why you would want to be a fairy witch if you don't really have an interest for them, so having the interest definitely helps. Number 3, you work with the elements or seasons and the fae associated with them. Now, obviously this isn't going to be for every fairy witch. I think it would help more if you connect with the fairies with each season or each element, because that could definitely help you get that better connection with them. So if you don't do this already, that may be something you want to think about doing. Number 4, you're interested in the environment and the many things affecting it, as well as what you can do to protect it. Of course, the average witch usually already has this, but I would say it's usually quite prevalent with a fairy witch, considering a lot of the fae are very protective over the earth and have a very strong guardianship over it. The fae have been really deeply affected by the damage the humans have caused here, and that's kind of oftentimes why they seem most distant from humans themselves. So having that kind of knowledge of it and trying to work to be better definitely helps to have the fae trust you or work with you better. Number 5, you may be eco-friendly, vegan, vegetarian, etc., or kind of have an interest in doing things better for the earth, like recycling. Overall, just having like a better health for either yourself or for the earth or others. Again, this isn't something that's written in stone. I'm definitely not vegan or vegetarian or anything like that, but I do personally see the ways that we have been harming the earth and ways that not only I could personally help, but everyone could personally help out. And the ways we're hurting animals too, I think that's definitely important. So not to say this one's in stone or anything like that, but you may already be taking these steps if you are a fairy witch. Number 6, you have a focus on wild or chaotic types of magic. In my experience, the fae really have a favoritism towards just being chaotic and fun and crazy and like doing things that don't necessarily make sense or out of control or whatever. So if you're practicing magic that aligns to this, I think they would definitely be about that or excited about that, since it's something that's very close to them. Number 7, you have a focus on glamour, self-love, self-courage, or beauty kinds of magic. Now I will say, although today the fae have been really modernized in a sense to be like happy and excitable and playful and lovely, not all fae are going to be like this, but I definitely do think they have this sort of shapeshifter element where they do like to try on different faces and be different kinds of people, and really finding the beauty of expressing yourself through those different ways. So I think things like makeup can definitely help for this, as well as like having a self-love of your inner child, definitely. So if you're doing any kinds of magic like this, I think they are definitely on top of and all about that. Number 8, you are creative with your magic. So you like dance, sing, do art, etc. So like I was saying earlier, a regular witch may already be doing these things anyways, but I find that the Fae tend to be quite expressive with themselves on who they are, and getting creative with these things definitely does help. So singing, I find the Faery really do love music a lot, so usually singing, playing music, dancing, and just really finding the, the sensuality in it, the playfulness in it. It's something I find the Fae really do love to explore and experience. So if you are doing things like that already, I think that definitely can call Fae to you. Number 9. You yourself are sometimes called playful or mischievous, or even a fairy. So obviously if you are interested in working with the fairy, or you already do, you probably have a bit of a playfulness to yourself or mischievousness about yourself. You may have oftentimes been called a child a lot, or like people saying, oh, you're acting like a child, but in sort of a negative way. When in reality you should be taking this into kind of a power state, because being a child is really amazing. That innocence, that playfulness, that just all in all, ready to explore the world. It's honestly such a beautiful thing. And number 10 kind of goes along with this. So for number 10, it is you are playful or mischievous with your magic. So you may already show this in parts of your personality, but maybe in your magic as well, you can be playful or mischievous, kind of like doing just fun bits of magic for no reason, or just to be playful. So like blowing dandelions, leaving sprinkles of glitter for people, or writing people little anonymous notes or something like that. Just fun forms of magic that's not too heavy. Usually things that are just fun and playful. Number 11, you may have an interest in the healing arts. There are some types of Fae that are really strong in the healing arts area. So for example, like elves and stuff like that, or even certain fairies that specifically work within the healing arts. I personally believe the Fae to be very, very powerful, and one of those powerful arts that they happen to use is healing magic. Certainly not all Fae types are going to be using this, or if they do know how to use it, most certainly they may not use it on you because you're a human. But I do personally believe that they are very talented in this, and if you are lucky or even just really well connected with the Fae spirits, they may heal you in some sort of way, whether that be physically or mentally. Number 12, you may have an interest in ancient types of magic or sort of sacred types of magic, and this kind of means something different for everybody. For me personally, song and voice are a very sacred thing, or music, as well as dance can be very strong. I find certain healing magics as well can be very sacred. If you do find yourself more interested in like secrets of the old or magics that aren't really talked about that much, that may be incorporated as well into the kind of sacred and ancient knowledge or magic. Number 13, you don't agree with human society or rules that are set in place, or like the rules just don't vibe with you well, or they don't make sense to you at all. For me, I've definitely felt this most of my life. I'm sure most of us have anyways. The idea of kind of being wild and free and outside of these like boxes that we put ourselves in, or these politics or any government sort of things that we put ourselves in, does seem silly to me sometimes, even though I know that there is a good reason to have it, you know? But I think it's certainly important to kind of take note that you may have a reason for feeling like an outsider on these things, or not understanding these things. So yeah, that is my full current list as of now. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any more suggestions as to how you may be able to tell if you're a fairy witch, please do put that down below, because I'm sure everyone else would love to read it. Or if you have any thoughts or any extra ideas to add to the conversation, please do. Anyways, that is all from me, my lovelies. I will see you guys in the next video. Much love. Goodbye.